and personal development show. This is the platform where your personal value is enriched on a weekly basis. Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy and your superstation Joy 99.7 FM. The broadcast is made possible by the kind courtesy of some of Ghana's finest brands committed to the development of Ghana's human capital. Let me say a big thank you on behalf of Springboard to MTN Pulse, Just Be, the Enterprise Group, Enterprise Your Advantage, UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank, Let's Go, and Axis Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions. I beg your pardon. Special thanks to our print media partner, the graphic business, celebrating 70 years of excellence in the work that they do. Thank you for joining us on Joy 99.7 FM, also celebrating 25 years of broadcasting excellence. We want to say a big thank you to you as well, listening out there home, joining us either on Facebook Live or right here on Joy FM. My name is Albert Okon, and I'm here with the virtual academic board chaired by Comfort, with support from Matthew, Priscilla, David, Amos, Emmanuel, and Jojo. They say the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. So in our Data is King segment, Amos will show us why lifelong learning is the key to continued relevance and to financial stability and continuity. Let me also say that in the Game Changer segment, we will look for collaboration in the garbage can, right in the dustbin. We will find treasure in the garbage can. It's massive tonight, so look out for the Game Changer segment as well. A big good evening to Chrissy Chum. Happy birthday to you. Also, good evening to Oli Gunnar Solskjaer, right up there in Old Trafford. Good evening to you, and may the Lord bless you richly. Good evening to Jaden. Enjoy Asamoah. Jaden first, Jaden twice. Enjoy Asamoah. I promise to play you a song today. This is a big shout out to Jaden and Enjoy Asamoah. Of course, to your parents, Sam and Petra. Good evening to you. And of course, Samuel Megan, aka Rocky. Good evening to you as well. We have a big show tonight, and the question is simple: lifelong financial security, is it a dream or a mirage? Lifelong financial security, is it a dream or a mirage? And my guest for tonight will help us answer that question as we navigate the three phases of our lives. Call them what you may, but it's clear that at the first phase you are learning and laying the foundation. In the second phase you are earning, and the third phase you are retired and you are contemplating and you are just reliving and reinventing yourself. Call a friend to tune in tonight as we unpack this all-important subject. But let's start with the roadshow yesterday in the ancient city of Cape Coast, where dreams come true. And my guest for tonight was with us in Cape Coast. A big good evening to you, Joseph Ampofu, MDE, Enterprise Trustees. Big Joe, good to see you.
Good to see you, and great to always be in this studio with you.
Yeah, Joe, Charlie, yesterday was something else.
Oh, it was over the top. I mean, I've never been in a room so energetic and people so willing to be able to know what to do. It was amazing. I mean, the crowd was what we're talking about, over 1,500 people. I mean, that was massive, and I've never seen a more disciplined crowd as well. I mean,
there's something about the ratio. You've sponsored it for years. You've been here on the virtual university, but getting into the people and hanging out with them for hours, even after we finished. What one word will capture, or what one description can you give to the experience of just spending 5 hours in program and spending another 2 hours post program hanging out with these young people?
I just wish the day wouldn't end. I mean, it was a situation where people were just thirsty for knowledge and people just wanted to understand what to do. And then I asked myself, I just wished I had got that kind of opportunity way back then. But then, quite clearly, Springboard wasn't available at that time.
Right.
During that time. So we have missed out, but we should make sure that the next generation do have it. But the room was energetic, and you could hear people scribbling in terms of information that they just heard, and that was amazing. At
a point when Comfort said, take out your workbooks,
everything.
No one asked me why is it raining, because it was such a switching sound. It was almost like it was raining outside.
Exactly. Everybody just took out their sheets and were ready to scribble stuff down, and it was amazing. And that tells me that our future is in good hands.
Right.
I mean, once they get the right direction and the right motivation, they will take the right decisions.
in terms of the knowledge itself that was shared, it was obvious that one point in particular stood out, and we discussed it during the break. The various resource persons. I mean, somehow, just in the course of sharing what you would call routine information, helping people prepare for the future, one point just stood out, just came out like this, boom, and then it kept building up and building up. And you started that point. You started that point, and it became one of the hot points throughout out the day. So let's relive that point. It was about the recruitment and selection process and what employers look out for. So give us that point again.
Well, I mean, basically, I was just trying to advise the team that as you're in the university, don't focus simply on your books and your course and what you're doing. Because when you come into an interview room, virtually about 5 or 6 or 10 others or 20 others have probably read the same course. What is unique that you're bringing into the room? So spend time to join the social clubs on campus, get some activity going, go for internships, try and be different. So don't just go online, pick up a sample format of a CV, and like Cecil rightly said, I'm hardworking, I'm self-motivated, I can do all those things, and expect that you'll be picked in an interview. You've got to be able to be the one to be able to shine out and do something which makes it different, such that you stand out for people to pick you up. And then I think that the people were shocked because everybody simply thought, well, I'll go to university, I'll read a course, I'll get my high marks, and then if there's a job vacancy, I'll just put together a CV and go and sit there. But the point was that you can't stay in a university for 3 to 4 years, and I gave the example, and that's when I cited the very good example of my dear colleague, Kola Dumont, who I sat in class with. And he would leave class, after class, jump onto a motorbike and go and do a traffic watch. At the end of the day, when he goes for an interview, he can tell you the kind of experience that he's been through. There are quite a number of us who did those kinds of things back in school. You're joining SU groups, you're joining various sporting groups, you're a member of, and we even joked and talked about a member of a Jama group.
Yeah.
And the question is that how would you bring that to bear in an interview? And a company wants to understand that you are somebody who can organize, you are somebody who can be able to take the decisions, tough decisions, as and when you have. So those kinds of experiences, if you don't get them in school, then it's difficult then to be able to place them on a CV.
Right. So, and when you made the point, Cecil corroborated it, and I give the mic to Noel of MTN,
yeah.
And he made a point even more forcefully about the added value you bring to the workplace. Obviously, it continued into the colloquium, and people were very interested in that
exactly.
point. So for me, every conference I go to, every event I attend, every learning platform or a show like this, I single out the one learning point that I thought was the biggest. I think that for yesterday, the point that stood out the most is the fact that in a competitive interview, the game changer could be the extracurricular activity that you are involved in. So it's not too late if you are a tertiary student. Find yourself doing something that you can bring to bear in an interview to show that you have breadth and width, and
exactly.
not just a one-dimensional person.
Exactly.
For me, that was a big takeaway.
Yeah.
Let's settle on the final thing about yesterday, and then we move on to the days ahead. So the other big thing was the wow moments. And you just describe, it's something that is so difficult to describe, but you had to hang out with Musa Ibrahim, the one who went and shook the hand of everybody in front in the auditorium. Just describe that enterprise advantage moment and just the experience of that Musa Ibrahim.
It's first of all, as enterprise, we looked at the situation and said, look, what would a student need? And what kind of resource are they looking for? Yeah, everybody needs cash. We do know that, but then we need to be able to make it tangible. So we thought of the fact that these days information is key and people would need to be versatile. So why not give them a laptop? So we did come up with an idea of a highly spec'd laptop, and I'm sure by the time you came down with the specs in the room, everybody was like, whoa, we must win this. But we set out some basic guidelines of you have to be able to download the enterprise app, which then gives you opportunity to be able to do several things, and people did. And when it got to having to announce the person, I mean, you could see there are a few pictures that I mean, the guy was he was totally beside himself. He was weeping. And you could tell the joy and the advantage that we're giving to this young man.
These are opportunities that are rare, but
very rare. Very rare. You can't quantify it. I mean, right. I'm still sitting here. I still have goosebumps about something that I was there myself, so I can imagine. But quite clearly, it tells you that There are people who are in need, and people just want that little advantage in life just to be able to go to the next step.
We celebrate you, the Enterprise Group. We celebrate MTN. We celebrate UMB Bank for going out there with us to enrich the quality of life of these ambitious, determined young people. And I have a big announcement for you right here. On the 21st of March, exactly 13 days from now, wherever you are, as you say, in this Ghana that you are in it, make your way make your way to the Grand Arena of the Accra International Conference Center. We have gone to a bigger venue so that everyone can get a chance. Last year, it was just painful to see people in the overflow areas, 3 different overflow areas in the National Theatre. We are saying that, listen, this one, no excuse. Huge venue. Let's come in our numbers, and for everything that we have described that happened in Cape Coast, it will multiply by 10 at the Grand Arena for the global convocation. 21st of March, 12 noon to 5 p.m. It's going to be magical, and make sure you don't miss it. Let's settle down for our discussion for today. It's about money. It's about cash. It's about securing your future. And the big question, lifelong financial security, is it a reality or a mirage? Big Joe, let's start with that question. Is it possible for one to guarantee lifelong financial security by the choices that you make?
It is possible simply by reason of habit. And I would always put it down to the fact that, we need to be able to inculcate, and we have to start it from our kids. We need to inculcate this whole habit of having to save and putting something down for a rainy day tomorrow. The question for us, and when we looked at the 3 phases, we looked at those, students as well, as we had a chat with them yesterday, we asked them, what is their next episode? What are you really looking at? Some of them, yes, I want my next job. Some of them are saying, well, I want to be able to own a car. I want to be able to own my own business. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to further to continue my education or further my education. At the end of the day, all these things boil down to a certain financial commitment. And how would you be able to achieve that? You need to be able to put something down aside every single day as you're earning your revenues. But the major thing that you need to understand is, for all of us, what runs through at the end of the day is the issue to do with how consistent am I in putting something down? How consistent? Because some of us have some grandiose ideas, and thankfully we are in March. January 1st, I'm sure many of us had this whole idea that, well, let me begin this particular savings plan, or let me try out this particular strategy of let me put 10 Ghana cedis or 50 Ghana cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedis aside. But then the point is, come February, okay, wait, let me start rather in March. Yes, March has come. Ask yourself whether you started, and it's all about procrastination. So we keep postponing these things that we believe that we should be able to do. So it comes down to what I mean by a habit of having to put something down aside. And the issue about financial security is, there's a magic in investments that we call compound interest. And the question is that if you consistently put aside a little bit every day over a longer period, you are likely to generate in excess of quite a huge sum what it is that you intended to be able to get out. But then the point is that people have a savings plan, and then the slightest bump, then they go into it and start making withdrawals.
Right. Let me go to the illustration that you gave. The illustration you gave today, you described 2 people, one who was 37 years old and one who started at, is it 33 years old, and then one who started, I think, 25 years old. All you were trying to describe was a situation where each of them saved, but because one started earlier, by the power of compound interest, they were able to achieve their goals, and the second person saved much more nominally and did what you want to call a crash program. But because it started late, when they were both 50, one had far more than the other. Just give me the numbers, and I'm going to tell you something that I've heard over and over for the past 13 years. But give me the numbers first. Okay,
so I just use an illustration of Ikuya, who is 24 years old, and Ikuya decides to put aside 50 Ghana cedis every single month. And the target was to say at age 40, what would Ikuya generate? And we use an interest rate over the period of, let's say, about 15%. We realized that by age 40, Ikuya had earned her total balance was about 35,000. 671, and her total contributions, the 50 Ghana cedis, total of it was about 9,600.
Right.
So we compared to Fifi, and Fifi is age 33. Don't forget, Equia is age 24, and Fifi decides that he also wants a target of 40, but he decides that, look, let me do 3 times what Equia was doing, and that's 150 Ghana cedis. By age 40, Fifi has 21,255. Total contributions is 12,600. So if you realize, Fifi had contributed a whole lot more, but then Equia had as compared to Equia. By the end of the day, at age 40, Fifi has 21,000. Age 40, Equia has almost 35,000.
Right.
Now the major difference here is, Equia did a smaller amount, but consistently over a longer period of time.
Right.
So these days, the point is that we need to be consistent in the investments that we do to be able to earn that quadruple return that we are looking at.
And then the second one, which makes most people sad, we need to start earlier. I'll tell you what, and that's what I've been waiting to tell you from my 13 years of traveling around this country on the road show. Anytime a presentation like this is made, backed by real facts and numbers, you hear a gasp from the older people, and the confession always is that, Charlie, I wish someone had told me. And I hear it from speakers, I hear it from our mentors, I hear it from our resource persons, and it's unanimous. If somebody had told me this when I was starting my career, it would be much, much easier for me by now, because the numbers don't lie.
Yes.
Joe, what should people who are at the learning stages do? Because as my pastor, Dr. Table, will say very often, there are some things that when he's preaching, he says, listen, the young people, listen to me. And you can see he's speaking right from his heart, because, Charlie, these are things that for some people, I mean, it's painful to say this, but they can benefit, but they cannot optimize their benefits. Yeah. So let's start with those who are at the foundational stages, tertiary students, fresh graduates who have just finished, and they say, listen, Big Joe, I don't even earn enough salary. What are you telling me about savings? What would you tell them? What must they do now to ensure that they live a fulfilled financial life?
You've got to cultivate the habit of putting something aside every revenue, every income that you earn. And you can build the momentum as you increase your income. As your salary increases, or as you get new sources of revenue, then you do that. But if you don't start by putting something aside every single time, the time issue that we are talking about is what will get to you. And then I use an analogy to say, I remember my first salary and how much I got. And I remember what I did with it. I remember, oh yes, I did spend, and I bought my mom a set of crockery. Fantastic, And I see a bit of the crockery even around today. But then I ask myself, if that amount, I had put it in some sort of investment and had been adding to it for about the past 18 years, the effect that I'm talking about today, I'm sure when I call my mom today, I say, oh ma, I want to sponsor something for you. She'll be very excited.
She will appreciate it more than crockery.
She will appreciate today she would. But I remember that back then she was excited about it. But today, she's going to be 88 on the 11th of March, and I'm like, whoa!
Happy birthday to her in advance.
In advance, yeah.
What's her name?
Nana Boatema Fakuma II.
Charlie.
And I forgot about that. Even my brother, one of my senior brothers, Fredia, he's in America. His birthday is today. So March is a deadly month for me.
Charlie, you must still save some money in March. don't spend all the money. All right, it's 22 minutes. 22 minutes past the hour of 7. If you just joined us tonight, we're talking about lifelong financial security. Is it a reality or is it a mirage? And we're trying to break life down into 3 phases: the earning phase, the foundational phase, the learning phase, the foundational phase, the earning phase, and then we're looking at the retirement phase, the close out, the reinvention phase. But we want to start by focusing on those who are at the foundational stages. And Big Joe is saying that no matter what, put some money aside. I've seen the same illustration, Big Joe, that you made, used for outdooring money. And the argument is even more forceful when one says that the same crockery argument that you make. If a parent collected all the outdooring money that they receive for their child and concluded that that money doesn't belong to them, it belongs to the child, and told themselves this is for the child for the next 20 years against their tertiary education or whatever, and then augmented it by 50 Ghana cedis a month for the 20-year period, most likely by the time the child is going to school, there will be no need to pay fees throughout the period of tertiary education. And for every parent, that should be a big enough motivation.
Very true. I mean, the advice to most, I mean, to young parents today is open an investment account and give it to those who probably would like to come to the outdooring to contribute into it directly, so they don't give you the cash. Because sometimes, I can tell you from experience, you receive the money all right, but then before the day is over, you hear the photographer, he has finished, he's going.
What about appointing a receiver?
The
a trusted friend who will sit at the gate and collect all.
Oh, he will collect it. No, the point is that he will receive them, but then no. But he has received them. But the point is that you can see, the music man, the DJ is going. He has asked for his money.
It's not yours.
But at that point in time, you are like,
prepare for the outdoors.
Well, preparing is one thing. So the point, that's why I said, the best thing to do is, if they give it to you in those kinds of certificates, the question is that you don't have the cash to spend. So the temptation is not there.
So put in place a system that will not even put the money in your hands.
Exactly.
Right.
So create those and there are various models that exist that can help to be able to do it. And we do have products, that you can be able to say, well, I'm setting up an educare, for my daughter or for my son. So, hey, this is the account number, or this is something that you can be able to pay. So even if it's 10 CDs, 20 CDs, 30 CDs, the person pays into it. And these days, you have your mobile money that you can be able to do that, but be able to receive that. And then the money just goes. So it doesn't come to you, it's in your pocket, and once the kebab man or whoever comes or the caterer is going, you say, how much do I owe you? What's the balance? And then you have to take out. By the time you realize, by the evening when you're packing up, you'd have spent all that cash.
So your big point for people who are at the learning stages of their lives is that even if the income is small, put some away and avoid the temptation of letting the money come into your hands.
Yes.
So I believe that standing orders and so on should be a
very useful
control measure.
Very useful. And never be in a hurry to do too much.
Right.
Because you have a much longer period to do the investment.
Explain that for the benefit of our listeners.
Well, there's somebody, for instance, might be getting 500 Ghana cedis a month. And then out of the fact that they might have an episode and say, well, this is what I want to be able to buy a car in the next 5 years. So let me put 300 Ghana cedis into an investment.
It's not practical.
So put 50 Ghana cedis into it. Because you're consistent, that you might not probably take a look at. Next year, maybe you might move from 500 Ghana cedis a month to probably, let's say, 600 Ghana cedis a month. Okay, then do another 20. So now you're now at 70 Ghana cedis. And it's gradual. But the most important thing is that you are picking that habit.
Right.
And that habit is what, if we get right, you then be able to have that or gain from that time that we are talking about. Because if you don't have enough time to be able to put money aside, then you're always in a hurry, you are sweating, you are anxious as to what am I going to do next. And sometimes these things then force you to make the wrong decisions or jump onto certain investments with some fantastic returns.
I'm going to come to that because that's another big question that came up yesterday. So if I want to summarize your thoughts, you're saying that for the person in the learning stages of their lives, 3 things. 1, start early. 2, be consistent. And 3, don't be too ambitious.
Yeah.
Fix something you can sustain and you won't go and withdraw the money.
Exactly.
Right. I'm going to tell a story before we close about how my mother helped me to understand the power of savings with an illustration, and that made me believe that, listen, these things, we must take it to primary school, not even secondary school. We must inculcate these habits in primary school. But Big Joe, one question that came up a number of times yesterday from the students is, okay, so you say we should save. We understand from the numbers, we understand the principle, we can see it clearly manifested. Help us to appreciate, in the light of recent developments, what should you consider in putting your money with an organization to ensure that you don't lose it? What would you say to that kind of question?
Well, I mean, it's you'll have to be wide open. You need to be able to read around, get information. I mean, there are regulators around these days. They advertise their contact numbers. Call the regulator. Find out about that company that you're putting your money into. Don't be a passive person and just say, Albert said this company, they have very good returns, so let's go. And all you're just doing is because Albert said it. Yes, Albert said it. Okay, so you go to the organization, find out a few things, what's the top management, what's going on there, and then also find out from the regulator. I mean, the regulator in the sense that you can call their contact numbers where you can just be able to make some inquiry. And then also keep your ears to the ground. Keep your ears to the ground. It's important that you keep your ears to the ground and find out what is going on. And be consistent about also demanding information regarding how your fund is also, or how your investment is also going. And those things are key. Quite clearly, we've gone through some situation where they've had to be able to take a look at our whole financial services. But I believe that we are going on the right footing at the moment. The most important thing for you as any investor is to be able to take active interest in whoever it is that is holding your money.
Right. So choosing a fund manager or choosing a service provider, talk to the regulator. Don't just take somebody's word for it. You're saying look at the company closely, keep your ears on the ground, and check out their management, and actually visit the company and get a feel of how things are run. Let's cross over shortly to those who are in the middle years, those who are building houses, those who are making giant strides. They are middle to top management. Life is good. I mean, in that belt, I'm going to come to what should they do, but let me remind all of us listening tonight that Springboard is brought to you by Legacy and Legacy Enjoy 99.7 FM, and we are proudly sponsored by MTN Pulse Just Be, the Enterprise Group, Enterprise Your Advantage, UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, DigiBank Let's Go, and Access Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions. I'll be telling you shortly about the Enterprise Advantage. Why somebody like Musa Ibrahim will grow up thinking about enterprise all his life, because there's something about giving an experience that you can never buy, and that is the advantage we'll talk about very shortly. But let me go over to my console and bring you a message from our sponsors. When we come back, we will be looking at those in the middle belt, those who are in the earning stages of their lives. Should they do something differently from what we have advised those who are at the learning stages to do? Please don't go away.
How do you intend to sustain yourself when you retire?
My children will take care of me when I'm retired. I am a professional. I can work till 80.
Some people leave their retirement to chance. How are you planning yours? Your attitude today can help you avoid struggling to survive when you retire. With 50 Ghana cedis monthly investment in the Access Pension Plan, you can accumulate 700,000 Ghana cedis in 30 years. This investment will guarantee you retirement income that far exceeds your current income. Visit www.accesspension.com to sign up or call 0302-543-287 or 0544-321-966 for details. Access Pension Trust, your reliable partner in pensions.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation. Over the past 45 years, we've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products, and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
When you don't have the Enterprise Advantage app, you're not in control.
Boss.
Yes, Akwesi.
I'm at where they sell the coat. What size do you like?
What coat?
Coat, office coat.
I said get me a quote. Quotation from Enterprise. You pan.
Oh.
What? Save yourself from the stress. Take advantage of the Enterprise Advantage app. Make your claims, check statements, request for a quote, and buy a policy from any of our subsidiaries. What's more, you can also get health tips, traffic information, find mechanic shops, and more on your Enterprise Advantage app. Download the Enterprise Advantage app on Google Play and Apple Store now. Here is to 95 years of trust.
Enterprise, your advantage.
I'm back. What kind of phone is this? Hey, Joe, into the coloring toy I'll be running you. Chance not for you. Who be upgraded? Shasuna Daily. *120*1#. Never can MTN will level probo. If we and never pim every busumi in a year, would your Kosuna use with MTN number? No. 2 more now, bet me we need 20,000 iPro 5S phones to move back. Cafe door. Bob, come up. Test it. Now, if you come on, Monica, I bet now. I said, Ubecha new ringtone. So we'll suck out iPro 5S phone. MTN will level probo. New year, new phone, new ringtone. We are good together. We're there for you everywhere you go.
It is 26 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. This is Springboard of Virtual University. We are opening up the subject of personal financial planning, and we are looking at lifelong financial security as a reality or a mirage. We're going to talk shortly about those who are in the middle belt, the earning stages of your life. But let me tell you about my experience in class 4. Big Jaws, first in class, and my mother took me to Kingsway store in Takoradi, on the beach road area thereabouts.
Which is today's ShopRite.
Yes. and then she took me to my favorite rack, and she said to me, choose a shoe. Charlie, there was some brown ankle high shoe, be nice one, 39 cedis, 99 pesos. She said, take it. So I took the shoe and I imagined when I wear it to church at Methodist. I can't, look, it's so vivid in my mind. Then when I lifted up the shoe, she said to me, do you know how much a house costs at Shekuma Newtown, the state housing house? Do you know how much it costs? And I said no. Then she told me how much a house costs. Then she told me 39 cedis and how if I saved it and it earned interest, one day I could buy a house. Charlie, I lost appetite for the shoe immediately. I put the shoe down, and that was the end of brown shoes, ankle high brown shoes for me. But I'm just thinking, it was just a simple way of teaching about savings, and it stuck with me all my life. And I say, probably we should demystify some of these subjects for children and not teach them in the same rigid way with compound interest. Just use practical and that's what we do at our Teampreneurship conference. Just teach them in simple ways. But Big Joe, let's come to those in the middle belt. What should they do differently from what you said to those in the learning stages of their lives?
Well, I mean, the truth of the matter is that it's no different the point is that the habit is still there. And you've got to build it up. And if you remember, I did tell you that as your earning potential increases, you also increase that amount that you're putting aside. But don't forget that now that you become a worker, there are certain risks that you also face.
Right.
So, take it for instance, you now say, well, I've gone for a loan, I've bought a car, and the question you should ask yourself is, okay, so that's a liability that you've already picked up. You're already earning a salary. You bought yourself a brand new car that you're working with, and you say, let me go and do a third-party insurance. So it's a beautiful car, all right. Yes, it might be a second-hand car, and thankfully now we've been told you can't buy more than 10 years. So fine, yeah, you bought a 6-7-year-old nice Honda, and you're driving, and it's a third-party insurance, and you run yourself into an accident. Now the question is, how much is it going to cost you to be able to bring back that vehicle? And here's a case where now you go into your current savings to go and take out that money. So that category of people, the question is that you also got to look at alternatives in how you would secure your financial wealth. Because if you don't, what it means is that you take 2 steps forward and 3 or 4 steps back.
Let me understand what you're saying. So what you're saying is that when you get to the middle belt, the dynamic changes slightly. So the habit you formed already, which is saving every month, maintain it.
Yes.
And actually scale up the amount to reflect your new income levels.
Exactly.
However, introduce a new component, which is securing securing the gains you've made.
The gains you made, because those, if you don't secure it, what it means is that you would invariably go back to your savings to be able to make up for whatever loss you have.
It takes my mind to Snakes and Ladders, one of my favorite games and the subject of one of our books, our recent books. And so the picture in Snakes and Ladders is really that if you fall in the mouth of the snake, you might have climbed all the way to 99, and it will bring you down to 7 because you didn't secure your assets. Is that what you're describing?
Exactly. So even to use the analogy of your shoe, for instance, so you've seen a nice car that you bought. Young man, you started work, and here's a case where you have it. But then you go for a quotation for insurance, and you're always told that, well, comprehensive insurance is too much. Let me just buy a third party. After all, it's just for the police, or it's mandatory. The question you should ask yourself is, in the event that something happens to this, my asset, what it means is that I'll have to go into my savings to be able to pay out. That's one financial risk that you've got to look out for. The other one, we also talked about kids, and we talked about education. Question is that you're now a family man. You now have responsibilities. Now, this is where you now begin the saving habit for that child who is going to hit you when you have gone 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Help me understand. Are you saying make a savings for the child or introduce the child to savings?
So you are making a savings because there's a certain risk that is going to hit you quite clearly. Thankfully today there's free SHS, but that's on the side. Once they cross the free SHS, they are going to go into university mode.
Actually, sometimes the pre-SHS bills are far higher.
Well, but let's take it that you can be able to handle those pre. But once you get into university, question is that what have you put aside to be able to handle them? And that's how come you take advantage of an education plan, and those kinds of educare and those kinds of policies then help you build up for the future. Don't forget, you are earning you're a young man or young lady, you started life and you're earning income. But then you've got to tell yourself that these kinds of things are going to eventually hit me, and therefore I must prepare for them. It's about preparing yourself for these eventual things that might happen. Another scenario that we should also take a look at. I go and rent a property in Adenta. I'm a young man, that's what I have. So you've rented a property and you're also staying in it. And you bought yourself your nice young man, you like 55-inch and 60-inch and those things. Yes, so you're sitting there, and we buy ourselves a nice sound system. It's sitting there, and then we go to work. How much we buy it for? If you go to Game or you go to Palace, or you see the prices, and you see those boom boxes and stuff like that. We spend our hard-earned money to buy them, and then when we take them home, we forget that there's a financial security that we need to be able to think about. Pick an insurance to be able to cover them, because when you've gone to work and you come back and your door is broken into and those assets are taken, what's going to happen to you is they're going to say, okay, I've lost this TV, but I need to buy myself a new TV. What do you happen? You're going to go back into those savings.
Right.
So as you are in that particular stage, as you continue to build up on that wealth fund or that fund that you're looking at, there are certain financial risk that you've also got to secure to ensure that if you ask yourself, how much premium would I pay for an insurance to cover my TV or my content in this apartment that I'm living in, as opposed to having to find out how much I need to pay for that particular item, it's miles apart.
Right. So what you're saying is that for at the level of the middle belt, the three things that you will recommend: first, maintain the habit that you've already formed, which if you've been consistent with, you probably would have done it for 15 years and it's become a part of you, of saving something every month and saving something out of every windfall you get. Additionally, you're saying that save for your children, deliberately have a savings or investment for your children. And thirdly, you're saying now minimize the risk. Secure what you have gained as you try to push up to the next level.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to now the part that is the most sensitive, where you actually sit as general manager or MD of trustees. You get to oversee pensions, and it's always a very difficult subject, a difficult area for people, because anytime we talk about it, people ask questions and they say, why didn't anyone tell me? What could I have done? What should I do? So let's start from even before or pre-retirement issues and then move it into that level so we can have as many people helped as possible. What should people do in that reinvention stage, that refiring stage, that retirement stage, or in preparation for that stage?
Well, unfortunately for you, the retirement stage actually starts at the income earning stage.
Right.
Because that is also where the compound interest also comes in. So you've got to also have several pots that you say, I need to be able to put money aside for education, I need to put money aside for my property cover, and I also need to put money aside for my retirement.
Right.
And you've got to start early. Now, thankfully in Ghana, the way our pensions or our retirement was structured, for those in the formal sector, it was pretty straightforward, where we had an entity called SNIT back in the day, where it was largely going to handle it and just through your employer. But 2008 down to 2010, the law has now changed, and here's a case where now private sector pensions is now part of our day-to-day. 2020 is the year when private pensions began paying out retirement benefits. From where I sit, sadly, I would say the benefits that we are paying out is a fraction of what people should actually be earning. Why am I saying that? It is because people just concentrated on the mandatory aspect, which is the tier 2. When this law came and when it started in 2010, in 2012, people had the opportunity to set up personal pensions, which was an additional. And that way, when it came to 2020, when you are retiring, you have 3 pots that you'll be taken out from. Unfortunately, what I've seen is the fact that people are still in the old mode of just sticking to what used to happen, where when I retire, I get my benefits paid by a lump sum paid by SNIT, but this time the lump sum is simply paid by a private sector company. And I haven't built up any other fund. But then the law has given you almost a waiver of about 60.5% for you to be able to build up this fund. The reason why you need to build up the fund is we feel that as you get into retirement mode, don't forget, things get a little bit more expensive. There's the issue of longevity risk. You might live longer. And then you need more funds to be able to take care of yourself. But you're not taking care of that opportunity.
15 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. So what you're saying, Big Joe, is that you will find yourself in a position where, by the grace of God, you will live longer, but by your own omissions, you have not put away enough money to enable you to maintain the quality of life that you have when you retire. Is that the point?
Yes.
All right. So what if you're listening to us tonight, where are you on this journey? Are you in the learning stages? Are you in the middle belt, the earning stages? Are you preparing, or are you already retired? And how can we help you to live out that dream? The number to call, 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. Which stage are you at? And how can we help you to actualize or realize your dream? 030-221-6541. Amos will take a seat for the Data is King segment at this point, and we'll find out why in all our deliberation, lifelong learning is something that you cannot omit. But the number to call, 030-221-6541. What stage are you at, and how can we help you to make that dream of lifelong financial security a reality? The alternative number to call, 0244340437. You can call that number as well, and we'll be happy to support you or assist you with answers to how to secure lifelong financial security. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Oh.
Your name, where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, this is Richard speaking. I'm calling from Airport Residential area.
Richard, which stage are you at?
Actually, now starting.
So you are in the learning stage?
Yes, please.
Also,
despite I tune in very late, but the little that I heard, that encouraged me to listen to the program, and I decided to call so that at least I can have education on how to save as a young guy like me coming up.
Richard, are you working?
Yes, please, I'm working.
So do you have a monthly savings that you are already undertaking?
Not really.
All right, so you're the one that Big Joe is looking for. I'm sure when we finish taking the calls, Big Joe will speak to you. Richard, that must cease
immediately.
Tonight.
Yes.
All right, stay tuned, and Richard will, Big Joe will give you some answers. Richard, this one you can't continue like that. All right, hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Your name, where are you calling from, please?
Still Richard on the line.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. So the point is made. Mr. Ampafu will speak to your situation. I'll take one more call. 0302216541 and 0244340437. Which stage are you at in your journey? Are you at the learning stage, in the earning stages, or are you retired? And what is your situation in terms of lifelong financial security? Are you making progress? Are you scared? Are you concerned? Do you have questions you would like to have answered? Just share them with us, and who knows, somebody might learn from your experience. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Your name, where are you calling from, please?
My name is James, calling from Koforidua.
James from Koforidua.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a policeman. And the habit of saving is not there. We took some bad loans and things, which is really affecting us. So what should we do differently to make up for the time we have lost in saving?
All right, James, thank you very much. Mr. Ambafo will speak to that one. I'll take one last one, and then we'll speak to Richard, we'll speak to James, and then our last caller. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Ifwa. I'm calling from Somania.
Ifwa from Somania. Are you at the foundation stages of your life, the middle belt thereabouts, or you're retired?
Yes, I have 50 more years to go retirement, so I'm preparing towards that.
And do you feel that you are on course to retire and maintain the quality of your life?
No, for the kids, yes. I put something down for the kids, but for myself, no. So I just tune in, and then the little that I said, no, I have to do something for myself, not only for the kids.
So Mr. Ampofo is saying that apart from what you will do for the kids, you must also do something to protect what you have procured, your assets, and then thirdly, put something away for your retirement. Fortunately, you have 15 more years to go. But it's not too late, is it?
At all. I mean, even if you have 5 years to go, it's not late. The point is that you've got to start now. The only challenge is that when you have a not too long a time, and the point is, in Ghana, yes, retirement is 60. Retirement is 60. But I think I want people to rather think about retirement more towards, this is what I want to attain in terms of a certain value, so that you don't peg it to, I'm 45, I have 15 more years. Hey, I am 40, I have this. No, take a look to say, look, this is how I want my retirement to look like, and therefore this is how what I need to put aside every single month towards it.
Let's speak quickly to James, who says, Kelly, they took some bad loans and made some bad mistakes. And is there hope?
Well, there's hope, because today you have a realization that you made a mistake. That's the most important thing. You can't turn the clock back. So you've got to start now. If you finish paying off those loans, start an investment today.
What about Richard, who says, Charlie, I've not done it. It's just not a habit I've formed.
Well, you see, thanks to you and to Springboard, today you've changed something which I remember Cecil picked up, which is the mindset.
Right.
So most of us, the mindset is not there about having to put something down for tomorrow. So in terms of Rich's case, I think that the first thing which you've conquered, and I'm happy about, is the fact that you recognize the fact that you need to be able to do something. I can't tell you to do 100 Ghana cedis or 500 Ghana cedis when I don't know what your current situation is. But what I can simply tell you is that please speak to an advisor who can be able to help you to know your current situation and then advise you on how much you probably need to put aside, which would not affect you going forward. Because like I said, don't be in a hurry to be able to say, let me put so much, and that in itself might be defeatist, because
when I come back, that will be one of the points I'll interrogate as one of my three biggest points. But I'll tell you, of all the things you said, my biggest point of all, and give you the chance to close out. But let me go to Amos. Amos, in our data is king segment, you're talking about lifelong learning as a financial buffer. Let's hear your thoughts.
The data is king segment provides credible data for decision making, analysis, and prediction. Our statistic of the day is on lifelong learning. A World Economic Forum article shows that lifelong learning is good for your health and wealth. Research shows that only 16% of all Americans think that a 4-year degree prepares students well for today's economy. 54% of adults in the labor force say it will be essential to get training and develop new skills throughout their work life in order to keep up with changes in the workplace. According to Ed Ezek, continuous learning is important in today's knowledge economy in order to 1. Remain relevant, 2. Prepare for the unexpected, 3. Boost your profile, 4. Develop competence and confidence, 5. Spark new ideas, 6. Change your perspective, and 7. Help others grow. So our question tonight is, what steps are you taking to remain relevant in your chosen field and improve your financial security?
Amos, let me keep you for half a minute. Which of the 7 is your favorite? In today's knowledge economy, remaining relevant, preparing for the unexpected, boosting your profile, developing competence and confidence, sparking new ideas, changing your perspective, and helping others to grow. I'll ask Big Joe which one is his favorite. Which one is your favorite?
For me, I think all of them actually are interconnected, and so from point 2 to 7, I take those as even helping you to also remain relevant.
So choose one.
So
number kind one, of political answer.
So number 1 is to remain relevant.
Remain relevant.
Yes.
Okay. Big Joe, which one will be your favorite?
Helping others.
Helping others. I'm sure after coming from Springboard, you have to choose that one. There's nothing else you can do. All right. So I'll since you've chosen, I will stay when I'm 1 and number 4. I'll stay in the middle. Develop competence and confidence, and then I'll see. I was tempted by preparing for the unexpected, but now it's expected. So don't say preparing for the unexpected. You are expecting the thing, so you can't say you didn't expect it. All right. So we'll skip the game changer segment today. I'm going to come back to the studio and ask Mr. Joseph Ampafo, who's been walking us through the 3 stages. I'm going to tell you my big learning, my biggest point for today, and give you a chance to close out the program. So, Big Joe, a summary of my learnings, as is my habit every Sunday. Basically, what you have been saying is that lifelong financial security is possible, and it starts by defining your next episode and what is required, and forming the habits that would help you to acquire or to achieve that next episode, whether it is to build a house, to marry, to buy a car or whatever. But you segmented the 3 phases of life and said in the learning phase, the foundational phase, students, fresh workers and so on, your 3 main concerns: they should start a savings culture very early. 2, they should be consistent in order to benefit from compound interest. And 3, they should not be too ambitious and start saving 30% of their income. It may not be sustainable, and they may be forced to delve into it. And to the question of choosing service provider, you're saying that very importantly, check the background of the company, be somebody who is interested in where your money is, and ensure that your money is with the right people. Then you move to the middle belt, and that's where my big learning was. You said maintain the habit you formed of saving consistently, but in addition, minimize your risk. Ensure that you've ring-fenced what you have gained as you try to reach the higher level, so you don't lose everything. Exactly. And then you also talked about saving something for your children, and then you moved on to the pre-retirement planning and said, in all that you do, not just for your children, also save for a quality of life after you retire. I think what you said about minimizing risk is very, very important because I've seen so many loved ones work so hard to acquire assets and through no fault of theirs, either through theft, through fire. I remember a pastor friend, a female, who bought a brand new car with a car loan and took it to the washing bay next to her office. And I remember they said there was a leakage in the fuel tank. How there was a leakage, I won't even understand. And they decided to weld the fuel tank with fuel in it.
Jesus. And
she was taking a friend to go and show her brand new car. Next door, when she got there, there was a fire. When she asked about the person she had given the car to wash or to fix whatever it was being fixed, they said, "Oh, he doesn't work here. He's just some boy who came around and he's gone." Can you imagine? I mean, one morning you have a brand new car, one evening everything is gone, and it was third party.
Well, even more troublesome for me these days is a lot of young earning parents are passing on. And the question is that most of us don't take appropriate life insurance covers. You know, and here's a case where you read an obituary and you realize that you have he's left with 2 or 3 children, and the breadwinner is the one who's gone. How seriously are we, the income earners, taking a substantial life insurance cover for ourselves? Because the question is that we don't know what will happen tomorrow. So you are faced with so many things. One, you're also thinking of the fact that, look, if I'm not here, what happens to the kids?
So you're saying insurance is not a luxury?
It's not a luxury. No.
It is just a responsible way to live.
It is very responsible.
10 seconds to go. One word we should go with. We should close with.
Well, I would say, and I think
one word.
Personal pensions.
2 words. Personal pensions.
Personal pensions.
All right. Thank you very much, Joseph, for being with us. You live, sleep, and eat pensions. I'm not surprised you chose that one. Thanks for joining us in Cape Coast yesterday, and thanks for joining us here on your virtual university, Mr. Joseph Ampofo, the man they call Big Joe. Good evening to all the wonderful, hardworking women of Ghana. It's International Women's Day. We celebrate you and thank God for your lives. Coming up next is the Walk with Jesus, and the topic is how the Bible came to Ghana, and the host is Reverend Ransford Abose. He's hosting Reverend Professor John David Kwabna Ekem, consultant to the Bible Society of Ghana and Vice President of the Methodist University Ghana. Till we come your way again next week, my name is Albert Okran, and on behalf of the Springboard Virtual Academic Board, God bless you, and God bless you. Good night.